Hi, and welcome to another episode of Friendship, Wellness, and Wisdom, the podcast where two friends get together and talk about tips, tricks, life hacks, and we'll give our unsolicited advice on a number of topics that we're interested in and think might help you in your day to day life. Today, we're diving into the interesting world of EFT tapping.
So, I'm Heather.
And I'm Rachel. Ooh, yeah. Hopefully, you guys know that and have listened to us before. If not, again, Heather, Rachel.
And before we get started, we're going to ask you to hit the bell, like, share, and also
Subscribe.
Comment. We would love to hear what you think, what you're interested in, and ask questions. Today, we're looking at EFT. It is a topic of ancient wisdom, modern philosophy. It's emotional freedom technique, commonly known as EFT tapping. And so, exactly what is EFT, Rachel?
Okay, well, not that I'm a huge expert, but what EFT is, like, basically, and how you use it is you're going to tap on the endpoints of the meridians on the body to actually target and release emotions that are sort of like stuck within your body, within your mind, and to help, like, again, emotional freedom technique, you're helping to release the emotions by acknowledging what it is that you're feeling and then letting it go as you kind of go through the sequence. So it uses traditional Chinese medicine or the meridian points. um and it involves tapping on those points again to address your issue. And these channels run all throughout the body, and tapping on these to voice your concerns and to restore balance to your emotions and your emotional and physical states.
So, EFT started as a practice called TFT. And when it was TFT, it was mostly for anxiety. So it developed in the early 70s or late 70s, early 80s. And it was a thing where they helped you go through phobias, anxiety, fear of heights, and things like that. And so the tapping was a little different at that point. So you tapped different meridians at different points for the particular phobia or anxiety or stress that you were having. In the mid 90s, it developed or was redefined by a gentleman called Gary Craig, who is a Stanford engineer. And he took it and he pretty much simplified it.
Yeah.
And he also actually like gave it to the world because he gave the actual technique for free on his website, and he kind of invited everybody to kind of discover and use and refine and develop and all this stuff for people to have these tools in their tool bag to
Yeah, he
work
actually
through.
like developed it and taught other people
Yes,
how to use it and
yes,
made it like then
accessible.
available to such like a wide variety of people to be able to use.
Right. And so when we look at and this goes with everything that we talk about, right? We talk about these things being this is not new science, right?
No.
This is really ancient Chinese wisdom, ancient
Mhm.
Asian wisdom. And so like when we talk about majority of the stuff that Rachel and I are involved in, we're talking about stuff that is age old, and then people in our world, in our day and age,
Modern culture.
have developed it into this really um, tapered uh, form that you can use anywhere, and made it simplified it pretty much to where it wasn't all mystical, right?
Right.
They took the science of it and they gave it to the people so they had have these tools. And so it's really something that Rachel and I both do. We both do EFT. I actually teach EFT to my clients. I do it with my private yoga clients. I do it with my clients that I'm life coaching. And so when we talk about people do it to really hone in and kind of take ownership of what's going on in their life, and then they develop a script while they
Mhm.
tap to really hone in on their truth, and then accepting their truth and then tapping through to kind of ease the anxiety of those truths, right?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I feel like so what you're doing is you're taking like ancient Eastern philosophy and medicine and wisdom and then
mhm,
combining it with Western medicine and
right.
science. So you're taking like ancient Chinese medicine and then kind of and it's combined with psychology. And you
Right.
can find like a lot of times if you're looking for this, there's a lot of therapists and counselors that will use this as a part of their work in their counseling
Yes.
with their clients. Like, so
Yes.
as a so like life coaches, psychologists, counselors, like these are people who and you don't have to be
Mm,
any of those to use this. I want to just put that out there,
right.
but these are the people that you'll commonly find that will use EFT in their practices.
Yes. And so like when you look at this, it's what we always say, it's another tool in the tool bag, right? And you can use it as much or as little as you want. Being repetitive with anything as far as meditation, EFT, chanting, hypnosis, self hypnosis, and things like that. The more you do it, the better you get at it, and the more your body is receptive to it. But it's not something like I sometimes get a little anxious in public situations, and I will literally like start tapping on
Mhm.
some of my points. I don't do all of them because I don't want people to think like I'm like,
Yeah, see, I don't care. I'll do it. Like I'm
yes,
like if I need to do something, I
yes,
literally just start and we'll walk you through that. Like we'll walk you through all the points, what they are and how to do this.
yeah. And so like I'll tap, but like I'll do full sessions of tapping in the car and
Yeah,
things
I will
like that.
too.
And so I think it's like all the stuff that we give you is so you can go out and you can really explore what is best for you.
Yeah, learn about it, try it out,
Yes.
and see what works.
So,
So, I'm gonna cycle back a little bit. So, we kind of went through the history of it. So, TFT was the beginning and got refined into EFT. And basically, what happens is all these points that we're talking about, they developed a sequence. And the sequence works for whatever emotion or situation that you are working on with a script developed around it. So, as you're working through tapping, you're going to tap on the eyebrow point, like just at the corner, like before the bridge of the nose, then right at the corner, the outside corner of the eye, right under the nose. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I skipped one. I'm sorry. Right under the eye, like in the center. Thank you. I'm like, and I do this every day and I totally skip this. So, eyebrow, outside corner of the eye, under the eye. I know this stuff. I
mhm,
swear. I do this every day.
you're good.
Under the nose, under the mouth, or like right at that little like point
Mhm,
here, like between your mouth and your chin, the collarbone, like just below, like where the collarbone meets here.
mhm,
Okay. Under the arm, like about 4 inches from your armpit. And ladies, it's a little easier for us just to hit that like right at that bra strap.
mhm.
You're right there. And then the top of the head. I swear I hit them all this time. Uh, and then, well, I'm getting to that. So when we start, the karate chop point is where we're
Mhm.
going to start, and that's where we're going to do our setup statement, and we will walk you through a full session of tapping so
Yes.
that you can see all the points. So, but that, yeah, those are our points, and then we use the karate chop for our setup. And I don't know, I have seen it done both ways, and you may do it differently than I do.
Mhm.
The karate chop point, as you go through, and this is basically how the tapping solution takes you through, is you use the karate chop point for the setup. And then as I go through the rest, I don't use the karate chop point again in
Oh, okay.
mine. I have seen it, and I have been through like other courses and seen where you go back and use the
Yes.
karate chop point again. I've also seen it where they start at the top of the head.
Mhm.
Like you do the karate chop top of the head, and then you go back,
Right.
and that's the starting point, and it's not here. So you're still hitting all the same points. There's just a few different ways that I've seen tapping carried out, depending on, where you happen to learn to do your tapping.
Right. And I've taken several courses from several different people that teach it to
Mm-hmm.
people to teach. And so when I took it on for myself and took it on for my clients, I've just created my own. I mean, it's still the tapping, it's still EFT, but I've created my own way of doing it. And then I work with individual clients to what feels best for them in their body.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it all depends on what works for you.
And again, that's like I said, you're going to take different scripts. There's different patterns that you can use as long as you're. I mean, and you're still using, even when you tap in different areas in the
Right.
different sequence, it still circles back to that same sequence.
Right.
So you're taking some liberties with the way that you're going through it. I swear you will get the gist of this whole thing. And then, well, you're going to give you resources anyway so that you can
Yes.
check this out on your own and try it.
Right.
So, all right.
So
So
we're
do you want to take us through? Do you want to demonstrate some of the
sure.
tapping
Sure.
sequence?
So the very first thing that you would do is before you start tapping, you're going to want to know what you're tapping for, right? So you're going to want to know what your truth statement is. I call them truth statements. And so your truth statement might be, even though I have these horrible allergies, I still love and accept myself, right? And so you would take the meat of the hand on the karate chop point. Where's my camera? There it is, right there, and you would start tapping. I use my two fingers to tap. People use all their fingers. Some people tap really slow, and some people tap really fast, right? So you would say those statements. I say them 3 times. I don't know how
Yeah.
you
Three
do them.
times for
Yep.
your setup statement.
And so tap, you say your statement 3 times. Then you move from there to the eyebrow point, right?
And I did want to add, I mean, with what I've learned, it's 5 to 7 times on each point as you go through.
Okay. And so you tap on that eyebrow point, and then your next one is you're starting to move into relieving the stress of the problem, right? So even though my allergies stress me out, and then you would follow up with your statement. So, and then you'll do that 5 to 7 times. And also, too, think about this as you're tapping. Some tapping feels really good, especially when it's by the sinus, right? When you
Sometimes.
tap around the sinus, sometimes it feels really good and you want to keep going, right? And that's okay too. Like I tell people, like, you have to really feel. And as you go through it, you're going to gauge first, right? Gauge where you are first from 1 to 10. So when you first make your truth statement, so let's go back to that. When you first make your truth statement, what is the level of your issue, right? So what is the level of your issue? Is it at a 10? So then
Which
as
is like, yeah, the worst. Like,
right,
it's like allergies are so bad. Like,
right.
you
And
can't
so
deal with them.
is it a 10? Is it an 8? Is it a 5? Is it a 2? Where is it? You want to keep tapping all around until you get below a 5. That's ideal. right?
Mhm.
Ideal so you can really gauge, oh my God, I was at a 10 and now I'm at a 5. And so you want to keep the cycle going, right? So you tap your truth statement, you tap your stress of the truth statement, then you allow to start relaxing. So then you're tapping right on side of the eye, your statement for relaxation to deal with your issue at hand, your allergies, right? And then you're going to tap under the eye and you're going to let that tension go. So then you want to make sure that you're saying your true statement and you're going to let this tension go, right? And then you tap under the nose. You're bringing calm. You're bringing the calm in at this point. And then you deserve peace from this issue. You're releasing the stress. You can't really tap. Like,
I know she's got her. So you can do one side or two. That's the thing to do is it doesn't matter. You can tap on either side or
mhm,
both
right.
at the same time. It'll have the same effect. So yeah,
Yes.
even if you have jewelry on.
Right. And so at your collarbone, you're releasing the stress with every breath. And then under the arm, right at that brow line or 4 inches under the armpit,
Armpit.
you're feeling lighter with each tap, right? You're just kind of like breathing into it. You're really honing in on releasing. And then the top of the head, I'm calmer, I'm peaceful. There. You're going to do that round though. If you are at the top of the head, you're going to gauge, right? Once you're done, you gauge. If you're like, man, I went from a 10 and I'm really at a 9.5, you're going to repeat the round. Now, a lot of people say, you know, you don't have to go back to the true statement. I personally do go back to my true statement and then work through. Sometimes I even adjust the script a little bit. I'm a big, because I teach yoga, I'm big on right and left, right? I'm big on that each side. So I go down one side of the body and then the other.
Oh, okay. See,
That's how.
I tend to go more by feel. So
Mhm,
sometimes I'm more sensitive on one area of the body than the other. Like
mhm.
I'll tap a lot on pain or I'll tap a lot on
Right.
like a migraine. Sometimes I'll just use the softest touch, like, and
Yeah.
just hold my fingers right at the edge of the point because tapping will actually make like the actual physical act of tapping
Hmm.
will hurt. So sometimes I literally just will hold a hand there or even just hover just above the point.
Hmm.
And honestly, if you're visualizing and knowing the points, you're going to also get that effect of doing that. It's just fascinating that you do it that way. Like I will switch sometimes. Sometimes I'll go and do two hands, and
Hmm.
even in where there's one spot, just hit, and then I'll
The
come.
other thing is to know that your fingers, right? Each finger is going to tap differently, right? So the one thing, if you want the very lightest touch, you're going to use this finger next to your pinky because it taps the lightest.
Yeah,
So we learned this way back when in cosmetology and
yeah,
skincare,
absolutely. Like
right?
so when you're doing facials or when you're
Yes.
doing any like yeah any of that,
You want,
your
if you want
ring
that
finger,
really gentle touch, it's going to be the finger next to the pinky. I cannot find my camera. Sorry. The finger next to the pinky.
ring finger.
If you want a heavier touch, you're going to do either your pointer finger, right? Or both your fingers, or even
Mhm.
that middle finger. And that's going to give you just a little bit of a heavier touch. If you find that you are like, yeah, this heavy touch is feeling good, and then you get to the sinus and you're like, oh, I need something a little lighter, change those fingers, adjust it for your needs and how it feels for you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes. And, you know, I know that this is an awful lot of information coming in at you, but if you are interested in looking into tapping and learning a little bit more about this or how to use it for yourself, we do want to let you know we'll include, and I think what we have here, like in our script, we can literally just take our script from this
Mm-hmm.
and put it in the show notes because we actually have a rundown of how to do this. You can go to thetappingsolution.com and they will break everything down. You can
Yes.
also download, and we have no affiliation with the Tapping
Right.
Solution,
Nope.
but they have a great app, I have to
Mm-hmm.
say, and they will take you through. They have an avatar on there. It will take you through how to tap,
Mm-hmm.
what to say. It'll give you all the background on that, and they do have free tapping scripts on there. So there's a free version of the app where you can access some free tapping scripts with a tutorial on
Mm-hmm.
like how to tap and how to use tapping. They also on their website do have resources on how to find a tapping practitioner if it is something that you are looking for.
Right.
Or my great friend here, the Bountiful Yogi, does do tapping with her clients. So if you're interested, you can check out her website and see what her services are and have her take you through tapping as well. So there you go. There's your resources.
And I'll even do one better. I will attach, and I'll have to figure out how to do this because not always computer savvy, great with
Okay.
that. But I can tap my build of a script. So we'll put the show notes in there, and then you can download the thing to build your own
PDF.
script. Yeah, a PDF to download your own script. And then if you have any questions, then you can reach out.
That sounds great. I think that's a really great resource to add in there.
Yeah, because then that gives you everything that you need to at least just dabble in it and try it without spending the money. The tapping solution is great though. It's not expensive. It's not.
No, I actually I have the paid version.
Yep, me too.
All of there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tapping scripts that you can use and tap along with, and they have a great search
books.
engine. Right. And then you get all the audiobooks included, which I think
Yes.
is great because I think there's at least 5 or 6 different audiobooks on there.
Yes.
And then they send you anytime that they're doing because they have packages and they put things on sale constantly.
Yes.
So when you're a member of that, they send you all of their discounts and their resources, which I think is great. I mean, I use it daily. I think one of the best things about this is one, like if you learn how to do it for yourself, it's free, but it also lets you realize, one, you're taking the time to acknowledge your issues. So you're realizing what it is you need to work on, right?
Yeah.
Then you're looking at it and finding a way to put into words how that's feeling for you and in your body.
Verbalizing.
So you're taking the time to really recognize what you're feeling, how it's making you feel, and allowing yourself to work through that. And I feel like just that knowledge, that time to care for yourself and to realize these things is just such a great way to just notice notice your own needs and to give yourself that time and care, and that in itself is very healing and can be super helpful in that way.
The other thing is so many of us go on autopilot and we deal with
that's such a great point.
we deal with the chronic pain, we deal with chronic stress, we deal with anxiety, and we go on this autopilot to try to get through the day. Right? Yeah. We just kind of like drudge through it and just kind of are like, okay, I can do this. But yet we don't take the time to really hone in and acknowledge it.
Well, no. And our bodies and our brains realize that even though we're pushing it back, that gets held within us. Yes. And then it does create more symptoms. And then can add to your stress levels and all of that. So the simple fact of acknowledging what you're feeling when you're feeling it helps to process and then release. Because if you're not recognizing what it is you're feeling and what you're going through, there's no way that you're going to process it and release it. So it gets stored in your body as stress. So in order to let that go, and there's very different ways of doing that, like we are not medical doctors, we're not saying like if you have an issue, always seek medical help and
Yeah.
attention first. But as a supplement, this is a really great way to add to your self care
Yes. It's a compliment.
routine.
Yes.
So,
It complements whatever you're doing to take care of you. Um, and to continue on that thought process is when Rachel said it's to acknowledge, that's why we call it the truth statement, right? It's to be honest with yourself, what you are feeling and going through. You have to start there to be able to release it. You can't be false with yourself because you know your truth, right? So you have to be true with yourself so you can move forward in the healing process, right?
absolutely.
Can I share a story of you, Rachel?
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm
Um,
absolutely.
so me and Rachel have been friends forever. She calls me one day. She's in a lot of chronic pain, and she's like, "I'm just not. This is not working for me." And so I said to her, "You know, you should try tapping and everything like that." And she's like, "I've tried it, and it did not work for me. I didn't like it." And then I said to her, I said, I'm going to invite you to try it again, right? And work through the process of it and everything like that. And then she found the tapping solution, right? And worked through
Hmm.
it in that way to create her own development of where she was at and what was comfortable for her and things like that. And then it kind of opened up a new world for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been really like it's been kind of life changing. In terms of dealing with my pain and my day to day,
Yeah.
it's been super helpful.
So she is one of the people that like even if you try it and it's not your cup of tea, you can always continue to look. There are tons of people out there, and I'm not saying that um the tapping solution is or isn't for you. I'm not saying, I am or not for you. Like, I'm not saying any of that, but like, give yourself time to actually discover and develop and work through. Like, if you try something one time and it's not your cup of tea, I invite you to try to find another way to do it or
Mhm.
somebody else to work with you or something like that, because there are a plethora of things out there that really can accent and complement your
Yeah.
journey to healing and self-care and things of that nature.
Yeah, I think that's a really great way of putting that. And there's like so many people who do things just a little bit differently. So
Mhm.
you'll, when you find that thing that kind of clicks with you and for you,
Right.
you find the time, make the time to stick with it because you're worth it.
Yes,
And I
you
think
are worth
that's
it.
that's the important thing to realize. Like you deserve that time, you deserve that care. And you know, give
Yeah.
yourself give yourself that. So I think
Awesome.
with that, right? With
Yes.
that, we can say check out the show notes because Heather's going to pack it with a ton of great information. If you are interested, like look into that. Check out the tapping solution if you want to know more. And they even have resources
Yes.
to go farther to find tapping practitioners out there. So, and there's a ton of information out there on
Yes.
it. So if you want to Google it, whatever, however you want to find it, check it out because if nothing else, it is super fascinating. So,
Yes. So thank you for watching. Till next time.
next time, bye.
Bye.